Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Dom from Nothgard and Equilibrium, not to talk about the bands, but to talk about you, the guitar player, the man. How's it going?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me today. I'm fine. I hope you too.
Well, thank you for taking the time. And before we talk about the five most influential guitar players to you, let's talk a little bit about how everything got started. So, how old were you when you picked up your first guitar? And was that your first instrument that you went to? Was it the guitar?
I mean, I think I was 12 years old when I started to play the guitar. It was not my first instrument. I think at the age of 8, I started to play the keyboard, but it wasn't my instrument, if you know what I'm talking about. But I mean, I still play the keyboard nowadays for composing stuff, but I was 12. Yeah, it was in 2003.
Oh, wow. Why the guitar? What attracted you to the guitar? Because you said the keyboard wasn't your instrument. So I'm assuming you found the guitar to be the instrument for you. So why the guitar?
Okay, so when I started to play the keyboard, my brother started to play the guitar at the same time. My brother is a little bit younger, and we went to the same music school, both of us. And I don't know why, but just had the feeling that the guitar is so much more interesting. And yeah, later on, I tried the guitar because my uncle, he played in a band, some kind of German country music band, absolutely not mine, and probably also not your cup of tea. But yeah, anyway, he sold his uh, electric guitar to me. So this was basically my first guitar. It was not the first time I picked up a guitar. As I mentioned, my brother had one, so I could try it a little bit and figure out if I like it or not. But yeah, and when I was at high school, I would say it's high school. I think it's the equivalent of what you guys have over there. I was, yeah, we had the music lessons. There was some kind of a project, like they wanted to found a school band or whatever. And at this point, I just started out to play the guitar, but I wanted to take part at this project. So this forced me to practice. And there were some guys, they played the guitar for a little longer than I did, and they were kind of mean. They said, "Oh, we are so much better than you, and you cannot participate and all this stuff." And I said, "Okay, guys, fuck you. I will prove that I can do this." And this was probably the main reason why I started to practice a lot.
That was your motivation.
Yeah, at first, of course. This was the first trigger what forced me to sit down and just practice, before I just played it here and there, as many kids or teenagers do. They sit there, play for a couple of minutes, maybe 10 minutes, 20, whatever, but without any real aim and goal behind. So this was my first trigger. Yeah.
So is that the moment that perhaps you realized that, playing was just not enough for you? You wanted to be part of something bigger, perhaps down the line, your own band, or was it later that you decided that, you know what, I enjoy playing guitar, I want to be in a band?
No, I think you're right. I think this was that kind of moment when I realized that this could be exactly what I want to do later. I want to have a band, and it didn't take so long. I think I founded my first band in 2005, which is 2 years after I started to play the guitar. It was a cover band. We covered everything from Amon and Moth to, I don't know, to Megadeth and that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I think you're right. Yeah.
Do you have any recordings from those days?
No, we were just a cover band. I mean, I was a teenager. I did not even think about recording that stuff, and I think it's better the way it is.
It's better to leave that in the past.
True.
I can see how good you were back then if you want to keep that as a secret.
Yeah, obviously not so good.
So moving from that point of time in your life into these five guitar players that influenced your career, I want to start off with Dave Murray from Iron Maiden. How old were you when you discovered him, and when you discovered Iron Maiden? Was it early on in those stages when you start picking up the guitar?
Yeah, it was early on. It wasn't my first influence, but it was around 2000, around 2001. I mean, heavy music was nothing new to me because my father listened, or still does. He listens to hard rock and also some heavy metal. He had a lot of LPs and that kind of stuff. So I remember when he drove me to the kindergarten, we always listened to. I mean, it's not hard rock, but the Eagles. But they have one hard rock song. It's called "Get Over It." I think it's still a cool song, but I remember those rides to the kindergarten because it was always nice, and I told my father to crank up the volume, to just get over it. It was nice. So and he also had some LPs from Iron Maiden, and so I was familiar to Iron Maiden, and not Dave Murray at this point, but later on when I tried to improve my own playing, of course I discovered his unique playing style, soloing style, and that stuff, all that, you know, and yeah, I think it was at the same time when I also listened to Metallica and Kirk Hammett, what is also an artist on the list.
What was it about Dave Murray specifically that attracted you? Was it his solo style, or is there something else?
There was one thing, the pull-offs and the hammer-ons and the pull-offs, which are very fast. For example, on The Trooper, the song The Trooper, I was very impressed at the beginning how fast he could do this, and also his soloing stuff. And in his solos, he's not really following one strict line of like many other guitarists are doing this. He's more on the improvising side of playing solos, and it was really impressive for me. And there are so many nice solos he did, um, and I liked Iron Maiden, and also in the band, what I mentioned before in the cover band, we tried to cover the Trooper and that kind of songs, and so this is why I would call Dave Murray as one of my influences, because I practiced a lot and I tried to do that fast hammer-on pull-off licks he did. That's
Wow.
why.
One name you already mentioned is Kirk Hammett of Metallica. Was it the Black Album how you discovered Metallica, or was some of the more recent stuff?
No, it was actually some of the older stuff. Uh, Kill 'Em All was definitely my favorite album when I was at high school. There were some friends at school. They showed me those albums, Metallica and all the stuff. And this was also a time I had to drive about 45 minutes to school with the bus, so I could listen quite a lot to
Yeah.
those songs. Seek and Destroy, Whiplash. Um, what else was on this album? I mean, many great songs, and I think at this time I was definitely, and Metallica was definitely my favorite band. I tried to play all songs, or all, not all songs, but all songs I liked, the heavier songs, the faster songs, all the solos from Fade in Black, and all of those. And Kirk Hammett was a big influence, because yeah, due to his soloing stuff. And my first heavy guitar was an ESP KH202. Yeah, I think it's the right name. Yeah, it was my first heavy guitar. It was quite expensive for me as a teenager and a student. So,
Uh, was that because of Kirk? You wanted to
yeah,
have the same style guitar?
yeah, it was because of Kirk. I wanted to have this guitar, and It has. I still have it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. It's
It
lasted
has,
the test of time.
excuse me.
It's lasted a long time. You've had it for a long time.
Yeah. I have all of my guitars. I still have the guitar of my uncle beside me. I'm,
Really? It
yeah,
survived.
it's here. I mean, it does not work at the moment because I'm always trying to fix some stuff and but yeah, I still have it.
It's nice to see that you've kept everything.
Yeah, not everything. Some guitars broke during touring activities, but those who were safe at home, I still have.
Oh, but those two are special to you.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the Kirk Hammett guitar, and I also wanted to have it because I saw it at a local music store. And beside that, I was a huge fan of Kirk Hammett and Metallica. It has this, it has this super cool skull inlays, And at the age of 14 or 15, I don't remember exactly, I simply wanted to have it, and it sounded good. It had, this mean look and had those EMG pickups, EMG 81s, which I mean, it's a standard nowadays in metal and still also back in the days. And it just sounded good to me. And yeah, I definitely still use this guitar.
So you said there was an expensive guitar for your age at that time. Did your parents pay for it, or did you have a job that actually allowed you to pay for it?
No, I paid for it, not my parents. I just raised some money for I think 2 years or something. What you get, sometimes you get some money for your birthday and Christmas and all the stuff. And I didn't have a job. I think I was too busy with practicing the guitar.
When you brought that guitar home, was the first song that you played on it a Metallica song?
Whoa, this is a hard question. Probably, I don't know. I would have to lie, but let's say yes.
It would make sense. I mean, it would make sense that you would come home and play some Whiplash or something like that, or Master of Puppets or something along
Yeah,
those lines.
Master of Puppets as well. Yeah, right. Also fantastic song. Uh,
The,
and
the,
this white guitar behind me on my right side,
yeah, it
uh,
looks beautiful.
it's the third guitar I purchased. It was a little bit later when I was more into the Children of Bodom.
Yeah, I can see that your influences, as far as guitar playing is concerned, have a lasting effect because it doesn't just impact the way you play, but it also impacts your purchases.
True, definitely. Because I'm not the kind of person who has 100 idols. I just picked a few, and those, and then I tried to learn a lot about those and read everything about them, and especially about Alexei. I don't know why. It was just back at back at this days. Children of Bodom thing, so new, so unique, so melodic, but also heavy and technical and yeah. So I don't know. It was for me. It was just the best band for years, and I don't know. After I listened to Metallica because first Metallica and I Maiden were my favorites, and then I got into heavier music, and yeah.
And that, so I was going to leave Alexei for last, but since you already showed us the guitar
Sorry.
and you're talking about Children of Bodom, let's go there. What was the album that you discovered Children of Bodom with? Do you
It was
remember?
Hate Breeder. I mean, it was already released because I started to listen to Children of Bottom around 2005. I think it's already the time when they released Are You Dead Yet? If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Are You Dead Yet? It was released 2005. Anyways, Hate Breeder was the first album. I was I heard a friend showed it to me, and then I simply had to get every album and uh, try to play every solo. And I mean, my favorite albums definitely were Hate Breeder, Follow the Reaper, and Hate Crew Death Row. I also, I mean, I still like all the other albums as well, definitely. But I think those three were the most influential albums on myself.
Did Alexi play a role as far as your influences are concerned beyond the guitar playing? Did he influence you to sing as well?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. He's not the only influence why I sing and play lead guitar, but a major influence. There were another circumstance. Um, we simply had no one in our little town who could sing. I mean, who could do the growls and shouts and screams. And I didn't want to do it at the beginning, you know. I just wanted to play the guitar for a long time. But you know, there was nobody else. So I said, okay, I will try it. And for some reason,
It worked.
I'm yeah.
You you
I
you
mean,
got,
I like it.
you got pushed into the spotlight.
Yeah, true, true, absolutely.
What is it about Alexi's style that really resonated with you? Was it his playing? Was it his presence? Was it a mixture of the two? What was it specifically about his playing that was such a big influence for yourself?
So definitely a mixture of both. It's his charisma, his everything, his presence on stage, his how he looked when he played the guitar, you know, but also what he played, his fast alternate picking, the sweeps, let's say in Kissing the Shadows, if you know the song, probably yes, it has a fantastic solo. It has everything, you know, and it was so impressive. And yeah, it was so fast. It was so, I don't know. It was just special. Uh, if you compare the sound of Follow the Reaper or in general the Children of Bottom albums, it's not the sorry to say that it's not the best sound because it's sometimes a harsh guitar, but it doesn't matter because it's his style or their style, and it was just so great. And I don't know. For example, the song I think it's on the is it on the Hate Breeder album? I guess so.
Yeah, I think so.
There is a super fast alternate picking solo, and I remember I tried it for so many weeks to play it, and finally I could do it. And yeah, I don't know, it was everything. I also have to mention we had some kind of what's the English word? Hmm. I don't know, like a big gathering with all the stars and where the sellers and purchasers meet and you know show the new products and all the stuff. And Alexi and Children of Bottom were there, and I was in the queue for a signing session, and I was so super nervous. I remember it was so great. And later on this day, I just walked around and I saw Roppe Latvala, and I missed those days because I was so super nervous and so super happy when I got a photo, you know, and it was something special for me.
Does that experience of being a fan and seeing your idols up and close, does that impact you now as an artist yourself when people come up to you after a show and they want a picture or they want an autograph? Does that remind you of where you were, and that for it allows you to be a better person towards your fans now?
Absolutely, because you always have to keep in mind that you are it has to be a pleasure what you are allowed to do, you know. And I always try to take the time for a photo or for a signature or whatever, because obviously or sometimes I definitely discovered those people feel the same as I back in the day, and they are so grateful, and it's just a fantastic experience. So I cannot understand why some musicians behave like idiots. I saw so many, you know, just treating their fans like shit. I will definitely not name any of those artists, but I cannot understand it because they also have idols or had idols, and I don't know why they behave like this. So
Yeah,
you are right.
they forget their roots, perhaps. Another name on your list, and we're narrowing down to the last two, is Yngwie Malmsteen. You
Yeah,
know, I'm going to tell you something. Every guitar player that I've had on the show to talk about their five most influential guitar players have mentioned Yngwie Malmsteen on their top five list. I don't think I've had one guy on that hasn't said it. So, what an impact he has had on everybody.
yeah. It's insane, and he's an insane player. But I would say that Alexi got me into Ingrid, you know,
Oh, so
because
that was your route?
yeah, I mean, do you remember the cover Alexi and Rob Latvala did of Antonio Vivaldi's uh, third movement of the Summer,
Mhm.
Vivaldi's Summer? They called it Passage to the Reaper, if I'm not mistaken. And it was that classical stuff of Antonio Vivaldi. And I, it was so cool. And I thought, okay, this is something new to me. Back at the days, I didn't know about neoclassical stuff or classical stuff in metal music, and it was just great. And then I looked it up on the internet, and I found Ingrid Malmsteen. I mean, he has been a star for decades already, but it was it was another one which he's so impressive with his economy picking, you know, super fast. Not everybody likes his style of playing, but I like it a lot. I like his vibrato. I like his economy picking because it was also a new technique I wanted to learn, and also the melody lines due to the classical approach was pretty interesting for me. And if you listen to some Nothgard stuff, you can hear the classical influences on some licks. I mean, I'm not half as fast as he is or whatever, but you know, it was just something I wanted to implement into my music somehow, and I also practiced his stuff far beyond the sun, for example, if to name a song, or Arpeggios from Hell, or I Am a Viking. I think yeah, those are the songs at least to a certain point, I could play everything. Not all the solo stuff. um, yeah, but yeah, it was also a big influence.
When you look at guys like Alexi and Ingve, you obviously are influenced by their style. You want to take a little bit of what they had to teach you and incorporate that in who you are. Is there a fine line between trying to incorporate that and becoming frustrated because you can't reach the level that they're at? They're just so unique, and they're just so at their own level that you have to find kind of like a median ground. Is there a fine line between the two?
Yeah, there's definitely a fine line between the two. I mean, they are complete. Me, they have completely different styles of playing, completely different. Um, if I got your question right, um, no, can you please repeat it?
Well, my question is really like, is it easy to become, maybe I'm going to rephrase it. So is it easy for somebody who's learning how to play guitar and you have these guys as your influences because you see what they're doing and you kind of want to not imitate, but you want to take a little bit of what they've done and make it your own? Is it easy to become frustrated because they're so
Oh,
good and they're so at such a high level that you feel like you, doesn't matter how much you practice, you can't reach it?
yeah, absolutely. There are times when you just get frustrated and when you just want to give up. But I always think it's always better to have high aims, you know, and really good influences. The same goes for mixing. when I'm mixing in studio, you know, you always have to aim for the best sound possible. So it's the same approach. You always need to take the best reference you can get, because otherwise you will not get better. So yeah, there's always that fine line between not completely losing the motivation and getting a little bit frustrated. I think it's just a part of learning something, like playing the guitar. And back in the days, I had the time to practice a lot when I was a teenager. I remember that it was always like 7, 8, or 9 hours a day when I was at school, because there was obviously nothing to do. Nowadays, I can't do it. Nowadays, for example, I practice the guitar, of course, because I have to when we have shows. I mean, not at the moment due to COVID-19, as we all know, but um, I, I just uh, practice stuff what I'm really into nowadays and what really impresses me. It doesn't have to be from a specific artist. Nowadays it's more like a new technique I want to learn, or something new. For, let's say there's a special style of vibrato playing or whatever. If I think it's really cool, I will try to implement it, and yeah, yeah, just make it happen for my music. And
Yeah, you're not spending 9 hours learning a solo. You're spending time now improving upon what you already have, upon your knowledge that you already have. I think that's the right approach. The last name on your list is Michael Ahmad of Arch Enemy. Well, he was in other bands before, but Arch Enemy now. Did you discover him with Arch Enemy, or did you find him when he was with Carcass?
I discovered him with Arch Enemy. I mean, I listened to Carcass before, but it was everything in the same at the same time, more or less, like Children of Bodom, Arch Enemy, Carcass. There were many more, like Dark Tranquility and In Flames and stuff. But so I discovered Michael Emmett and also Christopher Emmett, um, due to Arch Enemy, and especially Michael because of his fantastic tone. You know, he has such a great tone, such a fantastic solo style. His vibrato is amazing. I like it. It's so heavy, you know. It feels like, or it sounds like he's definitely killing the string, and I really like it. And also his usage of his wah pedal. He has a he uses his wah pedal in many leads or solos, and I also do this due to him, because I just thought 15 years ago it sounds so cool. And since then I have had a wah pedal, and I have it on every album.
Wow.
I always try to, you know, not copy it, but you know, this is, I think, what we call an influence. If you think something is really cool, do not try to copy it, but try to make the best out of it to make it work for your own music. You know.
Yeah, using your own style as well.
So this is why I have Michael Emmett on this list.
So, looking at the five names on your list, looking at you purchased a guitar because of Kirk Hammett, you got a pedal because of Michael Ahmad, you picked up some of Alexi's style and the singing and all of these things. So, all of these guys have had different influences on you in becoming the guitar player and the singer that you are today. If you had to pick one that represents you more than any other one on the list, which one would it be?
I mean, I have to say it would be Alexi. By the way, I also purchased a guitar of him. um, and I mean, I don't know. In the past, I didn't like the comparisons, like how my band. I mean, if they compared Nothgard with Children of Bodom, because I think, of course, there are influences of Children of Bodom, but there are a lot of other influences as well. Nowadays, I don't care anymore, you know, because it's simply true. he played a major role. He was a big influence, and I think Alexi Lyle would be the biggest influence.
Well, Dom, thank you very much for your time today, man. It was really a pleasure to go down memory lane, find out about your early start with your high school band, with your uncle's guitar that you still own, which is
Yeah.
incredible. Your Kirk Hammett influence purchased, your pedals. I mean, like this was such a cool conversation, such a cool chat with you to find out a little bit more about you. But before we go, I'm going to give you an opportunity to say, or at least to let everybody know what's going on in the Nothgard camp. Is there a new album around the corner?
Yeah, I'm working on a new album. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say everything, but I'm working on a lot of stuff. I mean, there has to come a new album soon, not this year because it makes no sense for us at the moment. But I already composed a couple of songs, and there's also a new single coming out this year. Definitely, I'm mixing it and mastering it right at the moment. And there's another thing we're working on, something completely new, what we have never done with this band before. Uh, yeah, it should be a surprise. And yeah, also uh, we are also working on some new equilibrium stuff as
So you're a
well.
busy boy.
Yeah, I mean, busy, yeah, but it's good because otherwise I would get frustrated due to the current situation. But we use the time, you know. There's nothing else to do, and I'm happy that I have my own studio here and can work all day long. But sometimes it's getting frustrated,
Yeah,
frustrating, you know.
you're missing hitting the road and touring and
Yeah,
seeing friends and seeing fans all over the place.
yeah, no, I mean, has, I mean, that's been too long now. Um, I don't even, I cannot even really remember how it would feel if I would have to into a tour bus tomorrow, for example, you know. It has been more than 13 or 14 months now, and I'm a little bit afraid of the first first show, you know, because to be honest and to tell you a secret, then during the winter, I just composed new stuff. I mixed own stuff and I mixed stuff for other bands, and I did not really practice our own songs. And there
You're
was one
rusty.
moment, yeah, yeah, there was one moment, and I asked my wife, "Do you think I can still play the guitar?" Oh yeah, yeah, of course you can. And it was, I think it was 11 p.m. or something, and I uh, simply had to try it. And oh God, what a relief! I can still play the guitar, but I'm rusty. You know, I was rusty. I practiced from that moment on because if you, I simply put all my time and energy into something else because there was no real need to practice all the songs we play live because I was sure I will not see any stage this or last year. So yeah, but
Well,
let's see. Best for all of
from my
us.
end, I hope to see a Nothgard Wolfheart tour
Oh,
in North America. I know you guys did that run in Europe a while back. It would be nice to see you guys together, uh, in North America. It would be an absolute blast. So let's hope for that for the future, the near future.
definitely, I have to talk to Thomas. I mean, it would be a wish of mine as well. It was so nice to be on tour with them, and they are fantastic people. And I think it was 2019 or 20. I don't 20. No, it has to. Yeah, I think it was 2019. We talked about touring plans, but it unfortunately didn't happen. But
Who
let's see.
knows?
I will send him a message.
Hey, offer him some ice cream. I'm sure he'll be down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that he likes it, and I know that I think it was a tour they did in Canada when you gave him or brought him some ice cream. Is it right?
Yeah, every time they stop in Toronto, I always bring him like 5 cases of ice cream.
Yeah. I remember he really likes candies. When we did a stop with the tour bus, he said, "Oh, candy, time for candies."
Yeah, he loves it. He loves it. He has a sweet tooth. So I'm hoping for that tour in the future. But once again, Dom, thank you very much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. This was a pleasure. Was a blast. You were one of the best guys in the business. So thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you very much for having me here. It was a big honor, and I'm really looking forward to see more of you guys.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.